With Bitcoin continuing to bust its way to the upside, particularly now as the 21 DMA is crossing above the 200, things are looking extremely good for the crypto market. But much like a failing marriage, does Bitcoin have to experience massive pain and suffering before breaking free? As Bitcoin bulls are watching and waiting in anticipation of the weekly MACD power pump to put the bears back into their mother's basements where they belong, will Justin Bollinger, the creator of the bowling pin bands indicator, be proven correct once more? I'm your host, Peter Pinch Squeeze Twist and Pop, and I hope you like cream in your coffee because we've got a lot of it today. Wow, last time I was this excited to burst, they asked me to leave the movie theater, and boy oh boy, did I. Goodness gracious, we have a lot going on in today's webisode, and we're going to be jumping into a few little tidbits of information before we jump into the technical analysis. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, tune in this case to miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. And without any further magoo, let's dump on in. Oh, wow, so there's a few things I really want to talk about before we jump in here, guys. And again, it's just overall what is happening in the crypto space. And I don't really check my Twitter that often, but usually every day when I tune in, there's at least one or two interesting pieces of mainstream adoption and just fundamentally interesting, unexpected things. For example, Facebook considering building products and features related to NFTs, says the executive, David Marcus of Facebook. We're definitely looking at the number of ways to get involved in the space because we think we're in a really good position to do so. Absolutely huge. But then another piece of interesting, but not super important piece of news, Budweiser buying the Ethereum domain name beer.eth for $100,000, roughly like 30 ETH. So this is just cool because it's showing some of these companies just getting interested in crypto to begin with. A lot of it right now has to do with Ethereum and NFTs specifically because the biggest NFT market right now obviously is Ethereum. Okay, you had Visa this week buying a $150,000 NFT, which just kind of blew my mind also. Like why do they want to get invested in NFTs? And when it comes to NFTs, I don't 100% understand it. But I tweeted like yesterday, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I actually bought a lot of NFTs just because I understand that there's a huge community of people there and the real uses of NFTs and the real value, I don't think any of us really know at this point. And I think ultimately a lot of cool things will come out of it. And like I said, when I first got into Bitcoin, like the first week that I bought into Bitcoin, like 4.5 years ago, I didn't fully understand it. But within a week or two of first buying Bitcoin, I did an absolute deep dive and I was absolutely shocked, like, wow, okay, this decentralization thing, this technology, all of this is absolutely, way different than I first thought. Because my first impression of Bitcoin was just that, oh, is it just some sort of centralized e-cash? Can't anyone do the same thing? And again, as I learned more, then I realized, wow, this is absolutely a huge thing. And again, I think with NFTs, like many of you, you might think it's kind of dumb, which again, I admit, I don't 100% understand the utility. But like I just said, most of you watching this video, when you first bought Bitcoin, you probably didn't completely understand it either. And on a side note, a few of the NFTs, not all of them, but a few that I bought a few weeks ago are absolutely, worth way more. And I'm getting crazy offers that I did not expect within just a few weeks. So even myself with extremely limited NFT knowledge is in a position now where if I wanted to, I could sell a few of those for way more than I originally bought them for. And as well, the Bollinger Band's creator here warning Bitcoin bulls as Bitcoin price struggles below 50K. So there's a decent amount of TA and a few other people contributing here. But the main thing that I just wanted to cover here is that the Bollinger Band technical indicator spotted Bitcoin holding above the 20-day SMA as interim support right around that 46 to 47. Nonetheless, a break below the so-called signal line risks sending Bitcoin towards the Bollinger Band around 42,600. And again, that just lines up with a lot of different things here. Just basically taking a look on this daily chart, which we're going to be getting into in a second here. Are we in a potentially this ascending channel? So far, extremely bullish price structure, but we're going to be talking about some levels that we need to be watching. And as well, guys, if you're interested in earning, there's going to be 3 winners of $1,000 in ADA. All you have to do is click the link below. Currently, looks like we have about 10,000 entries. And, I plotted this to end basically right after the September 12th smart contracts for Cardano. So absolutely very big. And as well, you can visit Tyler S. Crypto linked below to get some very nice deals, APY, and other bonuses as well. Well, but taking a look at Bitcoin, guys, this is big. I mean, we are getting this cross. We've been talking about this for about a week now. And again, last time we had a bullish cross, we saw Bitcoin actually dump about $5,000 or $6,000 over 4 or 5 days. And Bitcoin is on a little bit of a downturn right now. Is this potentially like a little bit of a bounce before we continue lower? And that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I think that's a fairly likely scenario. Keep in mind, we have not retested this huge $40,000 level. Does that mean even if we did get a pullback, we'd have to come down to 40K? No, absolutely. I think Bitcoin's very bullish. So even if we do initiate a pullback over the next few days, 40K might not even be reached because, again, overall, I think Bitcoin's very bullish. But I have been saying for weeks, and I'm sure people watching this are getting tired of hearing it, but I think a pullback would be better. And again, I just know for a fact, I've been doing this for a long time, and every time it happens, thousands of comments over the last, well, usually at least 1,000 comments per day, but I mean, that adds up week after week, month after month to be hundreds of thousands of comments. And when certain little things happen, like even let's say a 10% little pullback, people that are extremely confident, you see some of those same people saying, oh, I'm starting to freak out a little bit. And it happens time and time again because for the most part, guys, psychology doesn't really change. Psychology is one of those things where you can train yourself as much as you want. But when you actually put yourself in a situation, most of the time, I would say like 90% of people end up failing at those levels. And again, I think that's exactly why most people struggle with trading and investing in general is because of psychology. I think it really boils down to primarily psychology. It's a very hard thing to change, but if you can kind of get your psychology under control, I think you can just do so much better with crypto and literally everything. It applies to your entire life, but with crypto specifically, as for the most part, these little bars we see on this chart and any chart you look at, not just Bitcoin, not just crypto, it's basically psychology. What do we think as a collective that this asset should be valued at? What do we think as a collective that this asset should bottom at, right? What do we think as a collective? Everything. So it's pretty complex and changing every single second, right? Insanely dynamic. But yeah, if we go to this chart, clearly, this is a huge level of support right here. Not only do we have this cross happening right now with the 21 and 200-day moving average, but also the bottom of this ascending channel over the last couple of weeks, basically since the beginning of this breakout, the last week of July. So this level around 45.5 to about 46K should be insane support if we come down to it within the next week. So realistically, I'm eyeing that up. Again, 40K is a level a lot of people have been talking about, and it's something I mentioned a lot last week as well. But we have, I personally think, a lot significantly above that, around that 45.5 to $46,000 level. But as you can see, I mean, even in the short term, on these kind of 6-hour moves, we're seeing Bitcoin still respect even these Fibonacci levels. Came right down to this one. Now we're bouncing back up, and right now testing the 21 moving average on the 6-hour chart. And again, if we look on this 4-hour chart, there is even potentially a speculative rising wedge, which there was a speculative one last week that did start breaking down and broke down about $5,000. But ultimately did not reach the total breakdown target, which would have been an extra like $2,000. So it broke down about $5,000 when it could have went all the way down between $7,000 and $8,000 in the breakdown. So again, it's not something I'm watching insanely closely here, but it is something I think is worth paying attention to because it's just a pattern worth mentioning in the short term. But ultimately, like I've been saying, I think over the next few weeks and months, Bitcoin's going to get very bullish here. This MACD cross, we've been watching this since back in April when we got this bearish cross. We were watching that thinking, oh man, is that gonna get bad? It turned out getting really bad. And is this gonna be really good? Okay, that's the question now we're basically waiting to see, or waiting to have answered. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, turn this good to absolutely time-sensitive alerts. As well, make sure to click the link below and enter for the ADA. Gonna be 3 winners of $1,000 in ADA each. We're just gonna maybe add 1 or 2 more things. Again, like I said yesterday, I'm not gonna add a bunch like I did the last one. For the most part, I think it'll just be like these ones. You can as well make sure to check out tylerscrypto.com below if you're interested in any deals like getting a hardware wallet, bonuses, TA, anything like that. And without any further ado, that's it for me. Bye bye.